And we are live. Welcome to today's live streaming session. Hello friends, hello everybody, internet friends, wherever you are joining us from. I had a little bit of an audio problem in the previous stream, so I'm gonna try and keep the microphone. I'm gonna try and practice a little bit more microphone etiquette in this one, so that the audio is good, not only for the video, but if we decide to put this on the podcast as well, like we did our previous live streaming session, then that would help, right? Welcome to the stream. If you are new here, my name is Verma Henry. I am a product designer. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Based out in Johannesburg, South Africa, and Do Better UX is really a platform for us to share the knowledge that we experience as UX designers with other people to help them navigate the careers that they are in. So that is what the platform is about. If you're interested in being part of a community like that, please do consider checking us out over on LinkedIn in our community page as well as our Discord server. So that is where you can find us. But if you really want, more of the content, you can subscribe to this channel. Check out our website, dobetterux.com, where we have it's still in the process, but we will have other upcoming content, other upcoming events that we do exclusively, like in our community channels such as Discord. So consider checking that out too. We also do have a podcast called Not a UX Designer, where you can find some of the things that We speak here on the channel, but as well as exclusive podcast content that we make for the podcast itself. So yeah, welcome to the stream. Let me know if you're joining, if I'm audible, and if everything sounds nice and good. For some reason, sometimes the audio just goes crazy. Let me lower the volume for the music for myself. Check out our Twitter before we jump in. Just notify everybody that we're going live, and that looks brilliant. I think we are all ready. So now that we're all ready, the chat is open for interacting with us live. If you have any questions or comment, I will be monitoring it throughout the stream. Feel free to say hello. Let us know where you are joining us from. It's always a pleasure to know which countries and communities we reach on this platform. We are still in the process of trying to get this on LinkedIn. But yeah, that might be a pipe dream at this point, since it's just so difficult to navigate the LinkedIn streaming. But if you are some of our audience coming from LinkedIn and you'd like us to be streaming there, please do let me know in the comment section below. Like, just type LinkedIn or something, we'll get into it. So let me not waste too much time today. Get right into it. Today I want to speak about something that has been on my mind, and I've been doing research on this for probably the past couple of months now, maybe even 3 to 4 months, so quite a few of months now. And this is the idea of low code, no code development, mainly in the context of the UX designer. I don't think this is something that is new. I think we have been using most of low code, no code platforms out there, but I think that there has been a significant rise in how complex these platforms have become, the things that you can actually do and really put out there in the world. And now I started doing my web design in a platform called WordPress. A lot of you should be familiar with that. And most of the things that I did in there, I managed to run things like community-based websites. I managed to set up e-commerce websites for some of my clients, and really did a robust set of solutions for the different clients that I was working with. And this really helped me as a designer who doesn't have a lot of coding experience be able to actually deliver real world working software and solutions for my clients. So yeah, I was technically a developer in some context, in some sort of way, right? It was something that people were hiring me for. Fast forward to 2022, and we now have very powerful platforms. We will look at some of them, but just, from the top of my head, we've got things like Flutterflow and Webflow. Webflow might probably be very familiar to most of the users who are on this channel, because you probably use this to build websites either for your clients or for yourself, such as portfolios and things like that. But we'll get into the examples, right? But let's start with what is low code, no code. Sometimes you see this abbreviated as LCNC, so low code, no code development platforms. Well, no code is really a method that benefits from a similar user experience as low code, right? But it goes the extra mile by allowing non-technical business users to be able to develop applications without running any code. So this is really visual ways of you. This is really visual tools that help non-technical people build applications. And when we say applications, we mean websites, we mean sort of like business applications that you might be running internally. We also mean other things like external applications that you actually might be deploying onto the marketplace, whether this is via a Google Play Store or iOS, Apple marketplaces. So that is no code. It's really drag and drop visual platforms that allow anyone really, not necessarily just UX designers, but I will speak to the context of UX designers for the purpose of this video. So these platforms really allow, people like us UX designers to be able to build platforms, whether you want to use it in real life or use it as a prototype, etc., etc. And what is the difference between no code and low code? Well, the line is very blurry and very thin, right? It's super thin. Well, low code is really a method of designing and developing applications using the same intuitive graphical user interfaces, so drag and drop interfaces and platforms like that. So if you have used, a Webflow or a WordPress, it's something that is very similar. We will have a look at some of the platform websites. I'm not going to necessarily get into the use of the platforms, but if you're interested in that, let me know. I will create videos looking at the different examples and actually try and build something out of them. So let me know if you are interested in that. Hello. Hey. Cool. Are you gonna go play with the other girls? I'm busy. Okay, cool. Go. I'll catch you later, man. Alrighty. Okay, cool. So pleasures of doing live streams when you're at home and your daughter is old enough to open the door. So yeah, let's get back to it. Sorry about that. So where was I? Low code. So very not far different from no code platforms. Low code platforms still use most of the graphical user interfaces and things like that. But it really helps people who have coding abilities to be able to plug in a lot of customization using actual writing code. So you are able to drag and drop certain things and highly customize them with the code, right? It really offers a simplifies experience to help users start creating quickly. And once you've created stuff, you can then, get customizing to the specific niche. You will find out with a lot of no code platforms that you are forced to use just the components that are supplied and that are currently available to you. And with very little customization, you could change fonts, colors, what the call is doing and what the function is doing, but you might not be able to manipulate that, maybe to speak with another component for an idea that you might have or an idea that you might want to implement, right? So I think that's the two main differences. So low code and no code, very similar. Low code just has a layer of adding on some code, but they're mainly based on these visual graphic interfaces that people can use quickly, people can use to set up, at least the base of the platform very quickly, and, later on customize it with a little bit of code. So that's the definition between low code and no code. Let me know if you are somebody who is in UX design and coming from a coding background, or somebody who doesn't have any coding experience in the comments below. I'm interested to know what type of people would be watching this this stream here. So let's get back into it. So why no code, right? So why go this route? Why don't we just do it the way that we have been doing it for forever, basically? Obviously, there will always be people who are actually developing this no code platforms, so hardcore developers writing these things in code for us to be able to access it in this low code, no code environment. So that will always be there. I don't think there is a whole big wave like, oh, developers are going to lose their jobs because everybody's using all these no code applications. But for decades, we've only had two routes for businesses to take, right, on how they can get their application, on how they can build their application and deploy it into the real world, right? It's either you would buy ready-made apps from an external vendor that specializes in your specific market. Maybe you're in the food business. You can get sort of like an off-the-shelf delivery app that is already sold by a vendor that you can customize and really sort of like tweak for your business. So add a logo, add colors, etc., etc. But the concept serves a certain market, and people can use that as a business right off the shelf, right? The second way was to actually build the apps from scratch using teams of skilled developers, designers, etc., etc. I think for a lot of big companies and organizations that have the ability to do that, that is still quite a viable way. But we're seeing a wave of no need for us to actually be doing that if most of the things that we want to do are available within this no code environment, right? We are seeing a rise of really good and sophisticated low code and no code development alternatives out there that help many people within the business, not only the developers, be able to bring their ideas to life and bring the ideas into actual software that people can use, whether it's internal in their organizations or it's customer facing, right? These alternative app development methods really leverage, that intuitive and graphical interfaces that give users the power and freedom to quickly build applications and automate, the business processes without having to write code line by line, of which a lot of businesses are finding a lot of value in that because, business analysts and other non-technical people can actually start putting down different applications that the business needs and different ways of working. So I think that is super cool. I think it's super cool that we're working in a world where people actually don't have to write pieces of code, but can still actually deliver real working software, real working solutions for people within their business or external people to use. Cool. So we are about 15 minutes in. I'm just monitoring the chat quickly, having a look at Twitter and Discord and LinkedIn to see if there are might be any interesting comments or interactions that our community members are trying to reach out with. So let me just get into the Do Better UX group here. Seems like we don't have any new comments here. But yeah, thank you for joining us wherever you are joining us from. Feel free to let us know where you are joining us from. Always super excited, always super keen to know where people are joining from. Cool. So let's talk about who uses low code, no code solutions, and what is the use case for UX designers. Now, Gartner did a survey quite recently and speak to the fact that low-code, no-code platforms will be used in more than 65% of application developments worldwide by 2024. Now, that is huge, right? If we're talking about actual application developments worldwide from all these different companies. And we have started seeing some really big companies starting to focus on no code, which gives me a lot of confidence that, this research and this number is a little bit more accurate and probably, more realistic than what we might have seen in other researches, right? So that is 65% of application development worldwide being taken up by no-code platforms. So that is pretty huge. That is pretty huge and pretty empowering as well. And they say that this is a 165% projected growth rate every 2 years, right? That is just a ridiculous number. That means, between this year and 2024, there will be 165% projected growth every 2 years to get to that 65% number of the world actually using no-code, low-code platforms to deploy apps into the real world, right? So I think that's a big part about this. So I just wanted to bring that fact out there before I get into who uses this and what is the use case for UX designers, right? So when businesses begin to use, low code, no code tools, the number of sophistication that these tools allow, it really allows a larger team, not only the development team, to be able to be part of their delivery and sort of like process and building process, right? So this is a huge benefit for a lot of organizations to be able to deliver apps fast and accurately across almost any area of the business to any platform, right? And as a designer, I've always found it as something that is daunting to get from idea to prototype to actual real world product. I think I can speak to most of the designers who have done, prototyping in things like Figma, in things like I'm trying to remember Sketch and I think it's InVision. I haven't used that in a long time since my transition to Figma. But we figured out that there are also other sort of like prototyping applications that you can find on the internet that give you a little bit more interaction and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you think about the amount of work that goes just as part of the design process into creating those prototypes without having any reusability in the actual development process, I feel like that is a lot of time that is lost in the project itself. And I think low-code, no-code tools are a great way to introduce efficiency, bridging the gap between coming from idea, prototyping, and actually building the product for designers to be able to start putting together the ideas with these tools and prototyping with these tools, because then that way they will release something that is as close as possible to the product, as well as having real usability and almost a better representative of how this product is going to work in the world. And I'm not saying that it only limits there, it even goes further, right? With most of these platforms, you can actually deploy these products into the real world. So we might actually not have the need for that developer space. I mean, a lot of the designers that I know come from a semi coding space, so they know a little bit of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. And working and navigating in these environments would really help you with just bringing efficiency to coming from idea getting into product. I think by eliminating the need for hardcore line by line coding, a lot of businesses can actually prototype their ideas faster, put ideas into customers' hands way faster, and be able to start validating their ideas without the time, without the need of spending a lot of money and time on the development process as we already have, but at the same time being able to execute and deliver really high quality prototypes and applications without the need for writing line by line code, right? With low code, no code, we have access to better tools that really just help us fast track this prototyping process and have high fidelity experiences that are very close to the product. So I think that's a huge benefit for product design teams out there, even people that are trying to start up product design companies, people who are getting into this space. There is a lot of benefit to you learning no code or low code platforms and familiarizing yourself with some of the things that are out there so that you can easily navigate them and use this to your benefit to bring efficiency into your design and development process for whatever product you might be working on. Now, as much as these platforms are becoming more sophisticated and more powerful, depending on what your actual need is, implementing these solutions can actually help you get something into the market, or might be the limiting factor, to your solution. Maybe there is just not enough things within the platform that you have, or the different platforms that you're using that you need for you to be able to execute on the idea that you currently have. So that is something to consider. That is something to look into when you look at the product that you're building. Is it something that could be easily done by a low code, no code platform, or is it something that actually needs custom development? A lot of people think a lot of their products need custom development, but over the years, I've managed to serve a lot of my customers that are in the e-commerce space, with apps and websites that had literally no code involved in developing them, and maybe some level of coding to customize some of the functions and things like that. But 99% of the time, it's really just getting different API keys and hooking them up into these platforms, and getting the services to speak to each other in the background and work like that. So depending on what your use case is and what you're trying to do, this could be a great way for you to actually deliver real world products, or for you to be able to use these platforms for very high fidelity prototyping that can still be reused by developers to further on customize the application that you already built. So I think it is a really big skill that a lot of UX designers out there should consider and get into. So I want to show you a couple of the websites for the examples that I'm speaking to. I'm going to start with the probably the most famous one within our given space here, the UX UI space, and feel free to let me know what are some of the, if I mention any of if you use any of the platforms that I'm going to mention here, if you use different ones, what are you using for what use case? I'm super interested to know what use case you might be using low code, no code tools. Let me know in the comments below. So let me start with Webflow. So I think Webflow is a pretty common staple in our environment for a lot of UX designers, because I think a lot of UX designers have the need to create websites. I see a lot of people using this to create their portfolios and really use it as a powerful tool that they can use to deploy websites and other sort of smaller type of applications. So probably things like e-commerce websites, etc., etc. If you look at the product page here, they've got a powerful interface that can help you design stuff. You can sort of like craft powerful interactions. There's a content management system, e-commerce. You can do memberships, etc., etc. And then there's a whole host of other things that they do here. But I think a lot of people out there are using Webflow to build web applications across a lot of different markets and a lot of different sectors. And I don't think this is a tool that that only sort of like entry level people are using. You can see here things like companies like Dell are using Webflow. I don't know who these other two companies are, but there are actually a lot of companies out there that use these type of platforms, as well as WordPress. Like there's a lot of companies out there that use WordPress. It's amazing to actually know that some of those companies are using WordPress. But yeah, I think there is a lot that can be done in Webflow. We've seen a lot of different sort of use cases and things that that can be done in Webflow. Oh, check that! Venus Williams' website was done in Webflow. Pretty cool template-based platform, but really powerful when it comes to adding different integrations with different services and things like that. So this is something that I think a lot of people out there are familiar with Webflow. If you're not and you like to create a website, this is not sponsored or anything. I don't even have an affiliate link. I think it is a great place to start practicing low code, no code type of skills, playing around with this graphical user building interfaces for you to be able to design and actually deploy websites and things that you might need. I'm not sure about the pricing of Webflow specifically, if you want to deploy something like that, but that's why I would go with a more customizable solution such as a WordPress, where you can actually install it on your server and run it from there, and then you can actually get the power of WordPress running directly from your domain server. If you're interested to know about web design, setting up your domain, getting a website up and running, whether it's for your portfolio or you just want to learn basic web design for your client work as well, do let me know in the comments section. I will be more than happy to explore videos such as those ones. There has been a lot of requests recently from non-UX design people that I know to create that type of content. But I want to know, for you as a UX designer watching this channel, is that important to you? So moving on from Webflow. Oh, I see the plans here. They've got a starter plan that doesn't give you a custom domain and like 1 gig bandwidth. And if you actually want to use your own custom domain, it's like from $12 per month. So yeah, that's another thing with using these platforms is also that they're usually subscription based, and you might need to sort of cater for that budget as well. Cool. So moving on swiftly to something that is very similar to Webflow. We've got an app that I've been using quite extensively recently called Flutterflow. Super interesting app, powerful platform for building applications, like real mobile applications. Now it's based on a framework called Flutter. Flutter is more of a development tool that real world developers actually use to build cross-platform apps. So the apps built in Flutter are deployed, whether it's web, Android or iOS. You can actually deploy the native apps to those platforms, right? using one code base. And what Flutterflow does is that it leverages off the power of that framework called Flutter, and gives you a graphic user interface that is highly customizable. I would call this maybe like a combination of low code and no code, because I think as much as they have a high level of customizability with, selecting colors and things like that, I think there is also a huge sort of way that you can do API integrations and other things as well that allow you to customize your apps a little bit more, making it really robust and powerful. You can almost do anything in this app, and there is a lot of different templates. There's a lot of different resources out there that allow you to customize and build the things that you want. I've seen things like Uber apps. I've seen things like just clones of things like Twitter, Facebook, etc., in Flutterflow that you can download, put it up there, and start editing right away, right? So it's pretty powerful, it's pretty robust, and it uses quite a deep level of integration with other services that you might find on the internet. I wonder if they might say who are some of the companies that are using them here. Let's see if there is. The other thing that I love about Flutterflow is that it's really community based. There is a lot of, you can see here, like there's a hackathon a page that is happening. So it really promotes the development and the improvement of the platform. I wanted to check if they have like a demo or some of the big companies that are using this out there. But my point around Flutterflow is that it's really a no-code, low-code platform. As you can see here, you can export clean code that can then later be used by, actual developers. So if you think about this in a use case where you are using this as a prototyping tool, as a development tool, you are already leaps and bounds ahead of the development process when you are still in the design and validation stage, and you don't actually have to invest in development money. All of this can be done fairly easy by a designer that is interested in building this. So if you're working in a startup, this is a great scenario to bring efficiency and save costs on hiring developers, if what you're trying to do is possible in Flutterflow, of course, or in Flutter in general. I think a lot of scenarios will be possible. And then once you've validated your idea and you figured out that there's more complex, sophisticated things that you might want to add onto the platform, then you can export your code and share it with your development team that will actually help you then bring that richer experience and more sophisticated experiences for your customers or whatever it might be, right? So similar to Flutterflow, we also have a product called Bubble. Now, I've played with this one just a little bit, not so much as I've done Flutterflow, but from my understanding, they're major big competitors. So you might want to check this if what you're looking for in Flutterflow might not be there, but they're pretty robust and powerful platforms as well. As you can see here, it's very graphic user interface based. It's drag and drop the different elements that you need. there is really a lot of design freedom to customize things to look and feel the way you want them to look like, from what you have in your Figma file to actually making the thing functional. I found these two, if you're designing an app, I found these two platforms to be pretty powerful, right? And if you're planning to deploy your app across multiple platforms, iOS and Android, these really help you navigate that space. So check out Bubble as well if you're looking for other tools to help you build platforms. Now we've got other tools like Retool that I have here that I won't get into, because they're pretty much similar similar to Flutterflow and Webflow, but one that I really wanted to speak to for larger businesses and organizations is that even companies like Microsoft are moving toward this space as well, and they're pretty much very aggressively getting into this space by building what they call Power Apps. Now, Power Apps have been there for quite a bit of time now. I know for a lot of people this is not new news, but for the purpose of this video, I just wanted to illustrate that even big companies like Microsoft are taking this approach where you can build professional grade apps the easiest way possible. So everything is component based, everything is low code, almost no code. So if your organization uses Microsoft, of which a lot of big organizations do, and you want to create an internal platform for your team or whatever it might be for a specific business process, I see that happening in this world more than anything else. From what I've seen, some of the platforms like Power Apps do, I think it's really powerful for internal business processes and things like that. The customizability for more front end, for more user facing applications might be a bit limited. So powerful tool, super robust. I see here that you say things like 3.2 hours per week average improvement in line of business employee productivity. I don't know if that is speaking to just being able to use these tools and be able to implement certain solutions to help your businesses flourish from these things. But yeah, even Microsoft is looking into this space and really aggressively getting into it. There's a lot of drive from all parts of the world, from all parts of the development world rather, to get into this low code and no code space. And I think for a lot of designers out there, this is a great thing to adopt for your team. If you're looking for more higher quality prototyping, if you're looking for more higher quality products that are coming directly from the design team without any developers in mind. If you're a smaller company or you're a startup or you're just trying to put together an idea and validate it, this could be the perfect thing for you to use, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today around low code and no code platforms. Share some of the insights that I've been researching about. Show you some examples of some of the things that are out there. I think most of you might already be familiar with this, but in conclusion, I think low code, no code is a way of the future. Many companies will start using these products to get into the market faster, bring more efficiency into their sort of like product development, product design and development process. I think designers can really use this as a skill to help them stand out, to help them really work closer to the final end of what the product might look like, and not just end in creating Figma prototypes and things like that. So Again, I want to know if you're already using some of these platforms. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. If you're not using some of the platforms that I mentioned here, but you are using some low-code, no-code platform, I'm also interested to know what platforms you use and what are the use cases that you use them for. Especially if you're a UX designer, please share with other people who watch this channel as to what platform you use and what you use those platforms for. So in closing, thank you so much for joining the live streaming session today. If you liked this content and are interested in more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel, checking our podcast, Not a UX Designer, wherever you listen to podcasts from, and check out our website, still in development, still coming up. There might be some live streaming sessions, sort of like core working sessions that we want to do over the next coming week, where we might look into that. So if you want to be a part of building our website with us, with me mainly, check out the channel over the next coming week. But other than that, appreciate you watching right to the end. If you are watching this after the fact and not the live chat, again, feel free to let us know where you're joining from, and if this video has brought value to you. What other topics would you like us to discuss on the channel, as well as if you would like to see specific demos of, maybe some of these platforms that we're speaking to today. Super happy to find out and know if you're interested in that type of content. So until the next one, my name is Varma Henry, and I'll check you out next week.